You're tuned into the VSX Digital Sports Network.
So today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about some strategy and some different things, kind of an agenda for the day, a new strategy I wanted to break out to you. And then number two, recap what happened yesterday, and then go over the plays for today. So quick recap yesterday, 1-1. And boy, I tell you, if we could ever get any bit of luck, we'd be really rolling. Yesterday was 1-1. We played the Miami Marlins, who took the lead and took it into the ninth inning with a 2-run lead. Going to be a winner. We only need 3 outs, and then Tampa Bay hits a home run to win the game, and we lose. I'm telling you, baseball is one of those sports where if you're not faint of heart, this is not a sport to be going crazy. And you got the best strategy I can tell you about betting baseball is make good wagers and don't worry about the outcomes so much. You're not in control of what happens with errors and runs and guys missing pop-ups and wild pitches and pass balls and things like that cost you games. The reality is continually make good bets. You will be on the right side when the long season ends. You got thousands of opportunities. It doesn't matter what you do in a couple of days stretch. It doesn't matter what you do in a month-long stretch. Even though we're trying to be really productive, the reality of it is you can't control it all the time. So you just got to make sure that when you're thinking about it, don't go crazy beating yourself up over things that are not in your control. But we did win the White Sox game. White Sox, no issues. Jose Abreu hits an early grand slam, takes a big lead. They get ahead 7-1. They almost give it up. It gets back to 7-6, and then the game ends 12-8. So the White Sox kept pouring it on. So one of the strategies today that I wanted to talk about is how to bet baseball games and some varieties of what you can do. Number one, most people think you either bet the money line or you bet a run line. The money line is your pitcher, your team just needs to win, but you have to pay different premiums for that. And number two, the run line is like a point spread. You have to cover 1.5 or you get 1.5 runs. So theoretically, if you're using the run line, you have to win by 2. And if you're getting runs on the run line, you have to lose by 2 to lose those bets. So there's also totals, wagers, and that kind of stuff. But there's a segment that is called First Five. And First Five just means who's ever winning after the first 5 innings, your bet's over. And that's the game. That's the bet. So there's a lot of reasons why you do first 5 betting. And number one reason is that you're looking to avoid bad bullpens. You're looking to avoid spots where teams blow up and they can't close out games. So that's a good reason to use a first 5 innings. Another reason that you want to use first 5 innings is because if you're betting home teams, you do not want to use home teams on the run line in full games. The reason is they bat last in every inning. And if they're ahead, say they're ahead 4-3 and they're in the last inning, the 9th inning, they don't get to bat because they won the game. So they're only going to bat 8 times. So you don't want to lose an at-bat. But that does not apply in a first 5 inning situation because they're going to bat. The game doesn't end after 5 innings, but your wager does. So that's a good spot to be looking at home teams in the first 5 innings on the run line. And that's what we're going to do a little bit today. You'll also notice that when we look at these numbers, the line actually really changes dramatically. So the first one that kind of qualifies here is the Cleveland Indians and the Detroit Tigers. This is Zach Plesac against Julio Teheran. I think the line is Cleveland Indians minus like 165, 170 on the full game. But when you switch it to a money line or a run line, and we're going to do it in the first 5 innings, the Indians are only minus 115. But they have to cover half a run. So that means they got to win the first 5 innings. And when you look at the pitching matchups, you would say, yeah, they're going to win this game in the first 5 innings. So that's why we wagered on it. But Plesac, his game score is a 64.67 over his last 7 starts. And Julio Teheran, who's pitching for Detroit, he was a game score 34. Now, a game score 34 is really, 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 really bad. A game score 50 is average. And Julio Teheran is way worse than average in terms of his performance. Now, he made the team. He's the number 2 starter for Detroit, and the reason is that he's found his velocity again over spring training. But again, I'm not a big spring training results guy. This is going to be a cold weather game. It's going to have wind blowing in. We just have to be ahead 1-0, or we have to be ahead 3-2, or whatever it is after 5 innings. So when the top of the 6th inning comes, that's where we need to be. We need to be in that spot where we're at a point where we're ahead by 1 and we win this bet. The other part of this that's really good is Teheran doesn't strike anybody out. He's got a 13% strikeout rate. He has a swing and miss rate. So balls in the strike zone that batters swing and miss are only 7%. That's one of the worst ones on the board today, and that means that he doesn't get guys to make outs by swinging and missing. He's going to really rely on his defense, and it shows up in his whip rate, 1.83. That means he's giving there's almost 2 guys get on per every inning against him, and that allows the Indians to have lots of opportunities here. So we're going to take this one in the first 5 innings, minus the 115. We're going to do the same thing with the Boston Red Sox today. The Boston Red Sox are throwing a rookie phenom. His name is Houck. He pitched 4 games for him last year, but he's one of their best prospects. And they're going to face the Baltimore Orioles, and they're going to face Matt Harvey. And most people forget Matt Harvey actually pitched last year. He pitched for the Royals. He pitched 4 games and got bombed in every one of his games they pitched. His game score was a 28. So, again, that's even worse than Teheran. But he's a little bit better pitcher than Teheran. But it's the same formula that applies here. We just have to pay 120 on this particular game. So we're playing Boston first 5, minus a half a run, minus the 120. And what you're looking at here is Harvey has got a Sierra number of 5.40. That means he gives up 5 runs a game when he pitches. He's only got a strikeout rate of 9%. So he's very hittable. That means balls are going to be put in play for Boston. And what I like about that, Boston got shut out on opening day. And teams that get shut out, a lot of times can have 2, 3, or 4 games in a row like that. Not that they're shut out, but they can have smaller scoring numbers. But there's not a trend yet, and we don't need to follow that trend. And Boston is historically a great hitting team, and they were again last year, and they have great hitters this year. So their lineup is one that is undervalued in a lot of cases, and in my mind is one that thinks that should be able to take advantage of Matt Harvey and his lack of success of being able to get swings and misses, his lack of success of striking people out, and all the balls being put in play. So again, we're going to have lots of opportunities for the Red Sox to score runs today. And again, these are cold weather places, although the wind's blowing out there. Wind's blowing in Detroit for the other game. Now we're going to go to Houston here, and this is a game that starts later on in the day. And this is Lance McCullers, and this is against Cole Irvin. Now, Cole Irvin is a guy that pitched for the Philadelphia Phillies for 2 years. He made the team for Oakland. He is a temporary 5th starter in the rotation. He did not earn a rotation spot. He is just sort of holding a spot over until some of the healthy Oakland A pitchers come back. The other issue here with Cole Irvin is that Cole has made 19 appearances in his major league career. He's only pitched two seasons, and he's only started 3 games. So he's been in 16 games. He's been a relief pitcher. So that tells me that he's going to be what they call an opener. He's only going to throw through the lineup of the Houston Astros one time, which means the most he can pitch is 3 innings. So I'm going to guess he's going to go anywhere from 2 innings to 4 innings today. But he's also one of these guys that, using his career numbers as a relief pitcher, he doesn't strike people out either. 18%, so balls are going to get put in play. His swing strike percentage 7.3%. Again, not swinging and missing. So when you can't fool the hitter has an advantage, and that's a big advantage for Houston here, because over 2 games, Oakland hasn't been able to hit very well. So that's starting to be a trend. And they're going to face Lance McCullers, who in a lot of ways is the Houston Astros' best pitcher, even though he's pitching third today, third in their lineup. His metrics are just great. His xFIP was a 2.64. That kind of gives you an idea of how controlling he can be on the mound. And related to an ERA, 2.64 is very, very good. And his Sierra number is 322, which is similar to a ERA. And again, very, very good. Those are top 10% of the league type numbers. His strikeout rate, 33.7%. And, you heard me talk about some of those other guys who can't strike anybody out, but that's not the case for him. He can strike people out. Now, what's weird about Lance McCullers, Lance throws 95, 96, miles an hour constantly. But that's not his best pitch. I mean, he throws fastballs like crazy. He is a great curveball pitcher. And the reason that he's a great curveball pitcher is because one of the things that happens that his curveball does that nobody else's does, he throws it harder. He throws it with more velocity than any other pitcher on the curveball. So it makes it harder for the hitters to hit. It breaks more sharply than what other people's curveball does. So as you're looking at Lance McCullers, he can be a great pitcher. His average against was 179, and we were talking about 300 for some of these other guys. That's just a great number. I mean, you're under 200. You're doing great things as a pitcher, holding your opponents down. His whip rate was 0.97, so he's not allowing 1 guy on base per inning, and some of these other guys are 1.5 to 2. So that's where our edges are, and that's why we want to bet them this way. And I'm going to play this. I thought about playing this game full game, but the reason I went away from the full game here is because both teams and have been using their bullpens over the last 2 days. And Irvin is a bullpen pitcher for Oakland already, so they already have a plan in place to use their bullpen. So I think that probably puts a little bit of an edge later in the game to the Oakland A's. So we need Houston to pitch well. We need them to come out hitting and just be ahead after 5 innings, and we got a winner there. So we're taking the Houston Astros minus a half a run in the first 5 innings, and we got an even number, plus 100. So you bet 100, you win 100. Pretty good deal. Then the last game we're going to look at today is, again, we're going to go back to the Chicago White Sox, and this is against the Angels. And these are very similar to kind of what we've been talking about, but I'm going to use it as a full game today instead of a first 5-inning game. And this is Lance Lynn and then against Alex Cobb. Now, Alex Cobb was a Baltimore Oriole pitcher last year, and over the course of time, probably 5 years ago or so, was considered one of the better pitchers in baseball. He has had surgery, and he doesn't throw nearly as hard anymore, and he is almost a washed pitcher. He's not there quite yet. People think he's found some stuff in the off season here, and his spring training results were pretty good. But I'm going to tell you, I think that we're going to go with the White Sox here because Lance Lynn is an underrated starting pitcher, one of the best pitchers in baseball. And we're getting him at a pretty good price today. It's minus 130 for the White Sox. And they can hit, and they're going to get a guy that they can hit against. So that's the deal today. We're going to go those 4 plays, and I hope you have a great day. Make sure you follow me on the VSX Digital Network. And again, my name is Beam 'em Up Scotty Webb, and thanks for joining me today.